Very much in the same way that we have HD drives and SD drives, we have similar tuning utilities, HD-Palm and SD-Palm. Both of these are used to tune or configure our disk performance. HD-Palm is used for your ATA devices, and if we needed to install it, it's already installed on my system, but it would be yum install and HD-Palm. If we're looking at SD-Palm, this is for our SCSI devices, and we can use yum install SD-Palm. But again, it's not quite as simple as that. If we're using a ATA drive, but it's emulating with the SCSI device driver, we might be able to use both commands against that device. In our virtualized system, we could try running something like HD-Palm -T to actually then just show some of the times. So really doing a speed test on a partition. If we use something like SD-Palm/dev/SDA, we can read some of the parameters back from the disk. We just want to read a single parameter. We could use then --get equals WCE to see if the write cache is enabled for a particular disk. There are many different switches and options that we can use, but let's just go through and take a look at a few of these. Remembering both on my systems I've got HD-Palm and SD-Palm installed. So back at the command line, let's go through and look at some of the utilities that we can run. The first one we were looking at in the slides was looking at how we could test the performance. So really just seeing the read and write speed of the disk. So if we go through and take a look at this, so we can get an idea of the speed of the disk. Using SD-Palm, we can take a look at some of the parameters on the disk. Now remember, this is a virtualized disk, so there aren't going to be too many parameters available. If we wanted to read one particular parameter, then we could go through and use --get. So we can see here that we're not finding the write cache enabled parameter. If we needed to set a parameter, we could use then the --set, the parameter name and a value that we want to configure. We can also use it quite simply to go through and eject a CD-ROM or DVD. So looking at this in SD-Palm, we can see we're using the --" command equals eject, and then the device that we want to eject. Now of course we could go through and look at the man page or just the basic help, so there are certainly lots of switches. I wouldn't get too much into changing any of the parameters unless you're advised by the manufacturer to do so, but it's giving you an idea of some of the tools that are available. So let's move back now to the slides and look at some of the control that we have over our system memory and how we write out to the disks.